I'm pretty sure my infant son is a psychopath. I know it's cliché, but ever since Edward was born I've wanted him to say Dada. Dad, Daddy, or even Pa would all be great too. Any or all of the above. I don't know when my obsession started. It was probably around the time that Eddie rocketed out of the birth canal. Something about your first child changes you in the head, I guess. Here I was thinking about football, getting an oil change, and what was for dinner. Then less than 24 hours later, I'm coming home with Hannah and a brand new little human in her arms. And that's when I became solely focused on getting Dada. Of course, Hannah was just as anxious to hear mama, and it usually comes first. The M's are easier for babies to say. Still, there was a chance that Dada could get that come from behind victory. With enough prep, I was convinced I could make it happen. First, it was weeks of Eddie learning to sleep, eat, and adjust to life outside the womb. When he started to gurgle and babble, the race was on. Dada, say Dada. I'd say, just inches from his beaming face. Blubba Eddie would respond. Days and weeks went by. I'd parse out family time carefully, interspersing Hannah's occasional mama request with a barrage of say Dada. Dada. Blubba. The little guy was doing his best. After a year of no words I got concerned. I had given up the dream. After 3 years I was really concerned. We got him tested for all sorts of conditions. We just wanted to know what was going on. Apparently, Einstein didn't say his first words until he was 4, so there was still a chance he was secretly a genius. That was exciting. I can't lie. There was also a chance he was special in a different way. That would have been fine too. Eddie was 4 when he uttered his first word. Bug. Bug? Are you kidding me? Was that his first word? Hannah had asked, just as confused. No. Eddie, say Dada or mama for us. You can do it. Bug, Eddie squealed. Hannah and I shared a perplexed look. Did you teach him that? No. Did you? Of course not. It must be in one of his toys or songs. That's so strange. But Bug didn't spoil our party. Hannah and I celebrated Bug with nearly the fervor as we might have mama or Dada, expertly hiding our dismay for Eddie's sake. That weekend, I was bouncing Eddie on my shoulder, trying to get him some sleep in between our vocab practices. Bug, Eddie said for the upteenth time that week. Yeah, sport, I hear you. Bug. Bug, Eddie said again. And I bleep you not, Eddie was reaching toward one of those bugs that you see skittle across the floor from time to time. They're called carpet beetles, I think. And of course, they're totally harmless. I don't have any clue how he spotted it, but there it was. Bug. He wanted it badly. Okay Eddie, okay. I let him crawl up to the beetle, which wasn't in any hurry to escape. Bug, Eddie rattled off, the most excited I'd ever seen him. Yeah kiddo, good. Bug. Bug. I stepped over to Eddie as his voice got louder, probably the loudest I'd ever heard outside of his routine crying. Do you want me to? Smack. Bug. Eddie killed the beetle with a clenched fist. Geez, Eddie. He stared at the mess he'd made and squealed his loudest, celebrating his victory. I picked him up and took him to the sink. Hannah would be unhappy if she found beetle guts all over his hands. Eddie hadn't said bug since he killed the carpet beetle. He actually has a new word. Coco. If you didn't notice, that's not mama or Dada, but it's close. 2 syllables. Repetitive. I think we're almost there. Coco. Somehow, Eddie picked up on our Chihuahua's name. He must have heard us say it at some point, or maybe C's are easier for Eddie to pronounce than M's or D's. Coco is pretty old, and barely able to see or hear, so the toddler screeching its name is probably as bewildering as it is to me and Hannah. It's kind of cute, though. The two of them have certainly formed a unique bond. Like that Pixar short. Eddie calls for Coco, and Coco usually will approach within a few feet. Eddie cheers Coco. Over and over again and then exhausts himself. Then, the cycle repeats a couple hours later after an inevitable nap. In addition to Eddie's second word, he's gotten more mobile. It means we can let him bounce around the house, allowing Hannah and I to do chores, so long as one of us is watching. At least, we thought that was the case. It was a Sunday afternoon. I was half watching football while Hannah was out shopping. Every few seconds, I'd check on Eddie and make sure he was enjoying himself, not getting into trouble and so on. Sooner or later though, I had to use the restroom. It literally took me 2 minutes, maybe less. Coco. Coco. It had been a few days since Eddie had a Coco burst like that. It was audible throughout the house. I returned to the playroom as quickly as I could, and when I got there, I understood why Eddie had been squealing so ecstatically. Coco was dead. I buried Coco by the time Hannah got home that night. She was crushed. We loved that little dog. After a good cry and a mini funeral, we'd opened a bottle of wine and were trying to figure out what to watch on TV. So, you just found him? Hannah asked, finally able to talk about it. Yeah. Coco just took a nap and didn't wake up. That's for the best, she said. I guess we were expecting that sooner or later. Totally. He was really up there in years. Hannah sighed, searching the streaming site with the remote. Can you get us some popcorn or something? She asked. Sure. I checked over my shoulder one more time before leaving the room. She wasn't suspicious in the slightest. Out of respect for Hannah's squeamishness, I'd spared her the details. I'd outright lied. The images flashed through my mind as I combined kettle corn with snow caps. Coco hadn't passed in his sleep. When I'd returned from my midday bathroom break, Coco had managed to hop Eddie's child safety fence, which I assumed had sparked the Coco outburst. Relatching the gate, I'd turned the corner to find Eddie still squealing in the corner. Coco was wrapped in his tiny arms. Kakuo! Eddie shrieked. The toddler was squeezing the life out of the poor animal. I shouted, horrified at the sight of it all. I did my best to stop it. But I was too late. By the time I'd reached Eddie and separated Coco from his vice grip, the pup had gone limp. Eddie! Why? What did you do? Eddie's breath slowed. He looked up at me and just smiled. Coco! Eddie answered. I put Eddie in his crib for a nap, buried Coco, and wiped all the footage from our indoor cameras. I kind of don't want Eddie to say my name now.